What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Yin Yang Zing. Patrick here. So you saw this profile in, if you watched Bard of the Cards, this was part of the video package you saw in the background, and you're going to see some test hands later in it as well. But this is the deck I've been working on for the past little while. It's been my baby. It's Pendulum Orcust, and I've been really happy with the way the deck's performed and how it's been doing. So it puts out some really unfair stuff, and I've just finished collecting everything I needed. I've just finished getting everything that I needed for it, so I hope you guys enjoy the deck profile, and let's go ahead and jump right in. This is 60 cards. It's insane, but there's still some numbers I'm tweaking, but we'll go through that as we go through. So first, for the Magician package, we run 3 Harmonizing, 3 Wisdom Eye, 2 Purple, 2 Black Fang, Triple Oath, and then 1 Jean K, 1 Dragon Pit as your level 7s, and then 1 Dragon Pulse and 1 Time Gazer as additional scales. So these are all super important. Oath Dragon being the best one. You want to see this in as often as possible. The one change I might make is I might actually run a 3rd Black Fang over Purple Poison, but Purple Poison actually has come up clutch. Or I might cut Wisdom Eye down to 2. Wisdom Eye doesn't come up as much in my testing, but when it does come up, it's pretty strong. Oath Dragon is the strongest because it allows you to add Harmonizing without using your Electromite to add it, so it can come up pretty clutch. Next are your turbo cards for Electromite. Chronograph Sorcerer, 3 of those, 3 Cerberus, 2 Jackal, 3 Dark Worm, and 2 Gate Zero. These cards are insane. So I cut the Abyss Actor Curtain Raiser, and I cut the Symphonic Warrior Engine. It just wasn't doing enough for me. And these guys are all just super critical to the combo, or 2 combos for the deck. You want to get this in the graveyard early and often, and you want to have targets for it, because when you open one of these, it's just like, this is useless now. You want to be able to reset your hand and make sure that you keep a lot of cards in hand, because you do have a lot of discard things. So these guys are all really good, though. And Chronograph actually comes up clutch in niche scenarios. Next up is the Orcust, which is 2 Nightmare, 1 Harp and Symbol, and 1 Wand. These guys are all actually so this is all really important. If you open one of these, you only run 2 Nightmare because you don't want to open it, but when you do open it, it's at least you have one in deck to summon. And then Harp, Symbol, World Wand, because you don't want to draw into them too often. World Wand is the worst one to draw into, but it is what it is. Sometimes it happens. 1 Boots and 1 Destrudo, and that's it for the monsters. And then 3 copies of Pendulum Call, 3 copies of Duelist Alliance, and then my little tech is 2 copies of Star Pendulum Graph. So if you open Pen Call Duelist Alliance, I want to have another target in deck that of something I can actually use. So I like to go Pendulum Call, Duelist Alliance. If I open Pendulum Call, I go Duelist Alliance, search Star Pendulum Graph, and now I've got a target to annoy them for, like, okay, they don't want me to gain too much advantage, and then, you know, and this works if they link summon. So this comes up clutch. Next up is 3 copies. These are my Destrudo ways to get Dark Worm. 3 to Ravine, 2 Terraforming, 3 Shrine, and 1 Foolish. So if you have, like, let's say a Dragon Shrine, a Dark Worm, and a Pendulum Call in hand, use this to get rid of Destrudo, and then use the Pendulum Call, discard that, and then go from your place from there. 3 copies of Allure Darkness. Allure is just additional draw power. It helps you get to your combo pieces because it is such a big deck. And that's why I wanted to run a higher Magician count, so I didn't like banishing my scales didn't really matter ultimately. One orchestrated return. If you open this, it sucks, but it's 1 of 60. Like, what are the odds? Not very high. And then 2 Fog Blade, part of the combo. Next up, extra deck. The 2 most important cards, Electromite and Galate. I read somewhere that this is getting an ultimate reprint. I hope that's true. I want one. Electromite is great bait, because they'll think you're playing Pendulum Magicians or like 60 card Magicians or whatever. And this will bait a lot of things like Ogre or Ash or things like that, or Veiler. And this getting hit with Veiler stinks, but everything else is kind of irrelevant. This guy, Galate, is later in the combo, but it's super clutch. Easy for me to say, right? Next is the Nightmare package, which is Mermaid, Phoenix, Unicorn. Unicorn is the one you go into the earliest. That's what you go into later. This is just for niche scenarios if you can't get into this, but you need to get into your Orcust plays. Next up are your Link 3s. Summon Sork, Bard, and Trispania. So, I'm sure some of you guys have seen Triff Gaming's list, and I found that in there are game states where the Fog Blades are actually hurting you. My opponents have played really smart and just left Fog Blade on the field, and I can't attack. There's nothing I can do. So, Trispania is a good way to be able to deal with back row decks, be able to deal with time, and actually be able to fight back against your own back row. So, super clutch. Bard is obviously one of the best cards in the deck, and Summon Sorceress is amazing. 1 Boral Sword. And that's it for the links. Next is the Odd Eyes, so Absolute Vortex. Pretty standard for Pendulum decks. And then 1 Cyber's Quantum and 1 Borreload Savage Dragon. This guy has been MVP in so many weird, like, this guy is so good against Sky Strikers because they have to target him, which really screws up, like, Veiler. Like, if you can make this early enough in your combo, you can actually set Sky Striker, like, if they know what you're playing for game 2, you make this, and then they're stuck, like, if they let your Electromite go through because they know where your weak point is now, you summon Cyber's Quantum, and now they can't do anything to your comp. They can't use Widow Anchor, they can't use Impermanence, they can't use Effect Veiler unless they want to target this first. And then Borreload Savage Dragon is clutch, and then Evil Storm Nightmare and Time Thief Redoer. This guy's really good at stopping link spam decks because you can flip something face down. And then this is just really good for stealing cards, and it's better late game because it's a big body, so you overlay, pop their monster that's attached to Fog Blade, swing for game with Boral Sword. It's just a good way to get rid of their stuff. But that is it for my Pendulum Orcust deck profile. I took the basic concepts, and I will admit to stealing the original deck idea from Triff at Triff Gaming, and then just tweaking it to my own personal playstyle, because I found I was having difficulty playing the version of it that he plays. He's found success with it, I guess. I assume he has. I wasn't, so I wanted to make sure that I made it so it was making it more successful for me. So that's it for the deck profile, and I look forward to bringing you guys the combo tutorial. Like, comment, and subscribe, please.